Welcome back to the channel. Drew here, and Marques Brownlee, also known as MKBHD, recently reviewed the Fisker Ocean and it didn't go well. In fact, he called it the worst vehicle he's ever reviewed. I don't think it's a fair review of the Fisker Ocean, and unintentionally, based on the traction of amount of views this video is getting, I think it could end up bankrupting Fisker as a company. Let's talk about Fisker, let's talk about the Ocean, let's jump right in. All right, so I'm a fan of MKBHD. If you're not familiar with him, he's got 18 million subscribers on his main channel, which does a lot of tech reviews. It mostly started out with cell phones and computers and anything tech related. He's been on YouTube for 13 years, and he's a superstar and generally very honest with all of his feedback on the products, good, bad, or ugly. I'm also a fan, or has at least been following, Fisker as a resurgence as a company, or second swing as a company. And full disclosure, I had at one time around $400 or $500 invested in the company. I have a Fisker Ocean still reserved. I've had it reserved for about 2.5 years. And before I actually take delivery of the vehicle, I want to make sure the company's going to make it. And so that's where my concern lies. I also have 2 of the Fisker Pair reserved. That will be their second vehicle that Fisker is going to try to bring to market. And it's supposed to be super economy vehicle, really cool, unique vehicle as well. I've talked about it in some of my other videos. But needless to say, when MKBHD video on his second channel, it's called Autofocus, and came up, I was one of the first people to hop in. It was trending in the top 10, and mainly due to the bold title of "This is the worst car I've ever reviewed." And it wasn't even like kind of hidden what vehicle it is. The Fisker badge is literally right there. And sadly, I watched the entire video, and I really don't think it was a fair review. And I want to give you kind of my opinion on it, and then I'll also give you my opinion on the company as a whole. And then I'll tell you if I'm actually going to take delivery of my Fisker Ocean. So first of all, I've got a lot of respect for Marques Brownlee. He is, one of the premier YouTube OGs, so to speak. And generally, again, I haven't watched all of his videos. He's done a lot of different content, but generally, I really like his content and think he's super fair in criticism of the products. Now, when it comes to this Ocean review, my opinion is just basically, you could tell from the beginning of the video that he was a little bit kind of pissed off or frustrated with the way Fisker responded to him doing a review on the vehicle. So it sounds like he reached out to get a car. And as you know, Fisker is having some software issues with a lot of their vehicles, and they're trying to save themselves as a company. A little bit about the history of Fisker as far as in recent years. So you can go back to the Fisker Karma way back in the early Tesla days, and a little bit of competition there. But mainly I want to talk about their resurgence. Fisker has their Fisker Ocean is their premier product that they're bringing to market, and it's really the first product of this new Fisker company. Really doesn't have anything related to the Fisker Karma of yesteryear, except the original designer Henrik Fisker, and also the CEO of the current Fisker company. And so this is his premier product that he's bringing to the market. It's had some pretty good hype over the past few years, but they've really struggled bringing it to market. Well, if we can understand why. Basically, they were designing the product, the final parts of the product, and bringing it to market in the middle of COVID and all the shortage of parts issues. But their model was different as far as Tesla was, instead of building factories and having to do all that, going through all the issues that Tesla did starting up, their goal was to partner with a couple of companies like Magnaster and a couple other companies that already build vehicles for other manufacturing vehicles for other big brands like Mercedes and so forth. And so they partnered with this company in Austria, and still they had a difficult time bringing these vehicles to market. COVID parts shortages, supply chain issues, right? And so it got to the point to where they're finally starting delivering their vehicles, and then interest rates started shooting up. And in addition to that, the stock market started to crash. In addition to that, they passed the federal EV tax credit, which really changed how you get a tax credit for EV vehicles. In the past, it was, if it was an EV vehicle and it had a certain size battery, you would get a $7,500 tax credit if it was under a certain price point. And then as Fisker's bringing these vehicles to market, the new EV bill is passed, and so their high-end vehicles that they're as Tesla did, they're trying to bring vehicles that they're more expensive vehicles first, so they can get a little bit of cash flow and then slowly bring to market their cheaper versions of the Fisker Ocean. And so immediately they lost the tax credit because it wasn't built in the U.S. and possibly some of the battery issues. And so they've kind of really struggled here. However, the product itself has really been pretty well accepted as far as a very cool styling. A lot of the people who own the Fisker Oceans, the first 5,000 were called the Fisker Ocean 1, I believe. And they're very popular by people who own them. And with the asterisk of a lot of software issues as a new company. So where I think Marquez's review is not really fair in the sense that he really doesn't take into account that this is a brand new company that their biggest challenge is going to be the software issues. And Marquez is a tech reviewer, so he's used to reviewing Apple phones and Samsung phones and really some of the best technology type companies. So of course he's going to have a lot of issues with a brand new company, their software interface and so forth. Secondly, the second issue I have with the review is it didn't seem like he really knew a lot about the car initially. And he kind of stated in the beginning that it seemed like he was saying that he had looked at some other reviews of the car, but in assessing his review, it didn't seem like he knew a lot about the car to begin with. For example, he said there's no glove box, and that was really weird. Well, if you know anything about the car, if you watched any of the other reviews, you know it kind of has a glove box, but they slide out from underneath the seat. And so I thought that was kind of weird. He also talked about the tray that pops up. It's pretty much in every type of Fisker advertising. It's advertised as a taco tray that pops out of the middle, and you can eat your fast food or tacos or whatever. Of course, you could put a laptop on it, but that's basically what Fisker calls it in pretty much everything. So it didn't seem like he really knew much about the car at all, other than he had seen it somewhere and wanted to review it. Another example was it seemed like he just found out about the screen, how it flips from portrait to landscape mode. And I mean, that's really one of the flagship features. If you're not familiar with the Ocean, Henrik Fisker, one of the things he wanted to do would be to add several different features that are not available in any other type of car. One is the landscape screen that can kind of switch back and forth. The taco trays is the other. The California mode, where it actually lowers all the different, even those extra windows in the back of the car, sliding down the rear window. So the solar panels for the roof. So the concept with the vehicle is to make a good-looking vehicle, but also have not just one or two, but many different features that are not available in any other vehicle, and it really makes the car interesting and compelling, along with the range of 360 miles, one of the highest range of that competitive mid-size SUV market. But it didn't seem like MKBHD really knew any of these features about the car. He just kind of stumbled across them, and I thought that was kind of it just wasn't a fair review of the car. You should know a little bit about the car before you just kind of wing it. Also, how he got the car. He got the car. He had reached out to Fisker apparently, and they weren't willing to give him a car because of some of the software issues that they were experiencing and working on, and supposedly rolling out a 2.0 software update. And so he ended up getting it from just a regular Mitsubishi dealership. Of course, they're not going to be able to tell him anything about a pre-owned Fisker Ocean. And so that's where I really just don't feel like he gave the car a fair assessment compared to what he usually does on most of his other products. So, now, how is this video going to affect Fisker? Well, it could go one of two ways, and it could be really, really bad for the company, or it could be really, really good for the company. So, for example, the heading of the vehicle, the worst vehicle I've ever reviewed, with the Fisker badge right there, is not good. And you can imagine that he talked about kind of being really frustrated that Fisker didn't want him to do the review and tried to stop him from doing the review. Well, you can imagine Fisker as a company is really kind of on the edge here. They're struggling. It's not easy to get capital right now. Interest rates are very, very high to borrow money. Their stock is at an all-time low, like under $1 low. And there's really, and they're having struggling getting vehicles out there and actually, selling the higher end vehicles that they need to sell to get the cash flow to stay alive. I hope they stay alive. I want them to make it. I'm very interested in the Pear as a car. I like the Fisker Ocean. And I'll tell you a little bit if I plan on buying that vehicle shortly. But I really hope that this review doesn't hurt the company. The review itself has it's only been a week out on YouTube, and it's already closing in on 4 million views. Now, for Marquez's autofocus channel, now keep in mind, he's not an expert on doing car reviews. He's kind of transitioned from just a separate spin-off of his normal channel, and really just recently, only in the last year or two, gotten into reviewing cars, and he's kind of a car novice as far as a reviewer goes. I think that would be fair to say. He's only done 40 videos on that channel, and so it's not like he's been reviewing, hundreds of cars like Doug DeMuro or someone like that. And but this, of his 40 videos that he's recorded on the autofocus channel, this is already his highest viewed video, and closing in on 4 million views. And so to give you a comparison, that his Tesla Cybertruck video has less than 2 million views. And so this video is going out there, and it's big. And it possibly from the kind of a little bit of a clickbaity title of the worst car I've ever reviewed, but also because I think there is some interest in the Fisker Ocean, and then trending. Could be a lot of different reasons in it. Maybe some different back and forth comments and that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is, this is going to be one of his biggest videos probably he's ever done on the as far as a reviewer. So a lot of people are seeing this video already. A lot more people are going to see this video. And if you actually watch the whole review, and you'll see that pretty much all of his gripes with the car, especially the parts that he doesn't understand about the car as far as the features, are all software related. And so that tells me that those can be fixed. And the car itself, he brags on the styling of the car. He brags on the comfort, the way it rides, and all the different features of the car, and how it's really a very good, compelling vehicle. Except for all of his gripes seem to be software related. So if Fisker can actually fix those issues, and more importantly, if people actually watch the full review, and the full 22-minute review, I think they could come away with actually more interest in the vehicle, and it could actually help Fisker as a company. However, if a lot of people just see that first part and they don't go into the full depth of the video, this is not good for Fisker as a company. And I'm not saying this one video took down the company, because there's a lot of missteps as far as the company, and just some really bad circumstances, as I mentioned, leading up to this point. And so, that's kind of where it's at. Now, how do I feel about the company? I really hope Fisker makes it. I think we need more new, compelling products for in the EV marketplace. I really hope they do pull this out. My issues with Fisker as a company is, I think they really have some strong issues with their sales department. For example, I've had a reservation for 2.5 years. And if I'm a company who's trying to sell cars, I would be reaching out to every single person who has a reservation and see if I could get them finished in the process, actually putting the order and moving towards purchasing the vehicle. Not one person from Fisker has reached out to me until I asked for information. And so that's kind of a little bit disappointing. In addition to that, I've had issues trying to actually submit the full order. And for me, I'm kind of waiting to make sure that the company can turn that corner. I do really want to purchase the vehicle. I actually like the vehicle. I recently, instead of pulling the trigger and actually putting the extra $1,000 down to submit the official order, I actually ordered a Model 3 Highland. And so I felt like that's a safer bet. I know that company's going to be around, and it is a new design. It had some cool new features. And it was a lot cheaper than the Ocean that I have, which is, you know, close to well over $60,000 is the one that I want to build. So again, I hope this is actually initially may be an issue and then actually gives them a little bit more people interested in the vehicle because of how many views it gets, rather than taking the company down. And if you, I know that's not MKBHD's was not his goal. In fact, in the end of the video, he says that, you know, Fisker, I'm pulling for you. And so I hope that, one, that it actually helps the company and gets more people interested in the actual vehicle and gets them more orders. And number two, I also hope that he'll do a follow-up video after Fisker can get some of their software stuff and give them a fair shot at reviewing the car, and I would love to watch it and see how it is. Anyways, that's my take on this. Listen, sorry for being out for a while. I took a vacation. I've been doing some things. I got a big new baby on the way, so a lot of exciting things happening in my family. And so, but I want to get back in the grind as far as the YouTube channel. And so hopefully you enjoyed this one. Thanks again, guys. I'm out.